Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. It is 6:22 right now. We have market opening up in about 8 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. All right, looks good. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Sent out. Looks like we are good to go here. So as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. You know what I got to do. Log into my account. Looks like we are all good to go. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. It is 6:25 right now. We have market opening up in about 5 minutes. Marked up, let's see it. I'm about to mark up liquidity over here. I'm right here on the daily chart. I mean, we'll see how today goes. I don't know if price is really going to respect um, technical analysis today. There's not really any news being released today, so I mean, we'll see what happens here when market actually opens up. But we'll just play by ear. All right, we'll see. What's going on. On down to the 30-minute. On down to the 15-minute. So we got a lot of liquidity sitting up here, of course, as you guys can see. Um, price came up yesterday, but not quite to recoup everything, but price is starting to push up now. So we're starting to get this market stabilization as the tariff news was released last week, and market here is starting to kind of stabilize a little bit, which is good. We don't want the market to continue dropping. We want it to go back and forth. Like we want regular market conditions. So We actually got a lot of liquidity on the bottom now because of this push to the upside. All right, so it looks like we're good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Tuesday, April 8th. It is 6:28 right now. We have about 2 minutes until market open. The breakout for today is looking like a possible buy. The ATR currently right now is 44. So we'll see what happens in a few moments if this ends up picking up or if it stays around 50 for the day. If you guys sat in on the mentoring session yesterday, with Terrell. Basically, we talked about how we need to figure out what the average is right now, right? Our previous average was about like 30 points. That's why our TP stop loss was fixed at 30 points, but it's a little different now. So with that said, we'll have to see what's the average movement. Because yesterday it was up to like 200. That's obviously not average. It was sitting around 100 for a while, but that was because news was released. We kind of just have to watch the market for a few days and see where the average is at. Wherever it sits at, we're going to use some sort of whole number, whether it be 50, whether it be 75, whether it be 100, etc. We'll kind of see what happens here as market progresses into a somewhat normal market. So, all right, guys, looks like we are good to go here. Let's see who's here so far. Morning, Maria. Morning, Steven. Morning, Lila. Morning, Daniel. Morning, everybody. So we got market opening up pretty shortly in about 30 seconds. The direction for the breakout today is looking like a buy, it looks like. All right, guys, market is now open. So the direction for the breakout today is a buy. Probably want to wait a little bit for the market to kind of move around for a bit. But, like we said yesterday, you probably want to use a bigger TP stop loss as well. Not the typical 50, but the 100 would probably be better. When you guys are taking these breakouts, it's kind of better to wait for it to kind of spike a little bit and then look for it to correct. Because that's kind of what happened yesterday, right? Same with Steven. He kind of waited a little bit because of the crazy movement on open, and then it ended up shooting all the way back up. So if you want to use a 50-50, feel free. If you want to use a 100-100, feel free. I mean, it's up to your preference. But we will see what happens here next. So we have the liquidity here marked up. This is the closest level of liquidity above. The closest level of liquidity below is down here at 39,424. This is opening price. And we'll see what happens next. So the volatility here is not as crazy as it was yesterday. As you guys can see, the ATR is still pretty high. It's at 53, but it's not at like 100, right? So with that said, we will look for any opportunities here. So I'll mark this up as liquidity. We have one level of liquidity right here, which is probably going to get hit. So in a sense, we kind of want price to go back and forth. We want there to be a profile. We don't necessarily want it to keep dropping or keep pushing up just consistently forever. We want price to, I don't want to say range or consolidate, but we do want it to go back and forth in a sense. So we have a sell signal here that's currently pending. If the sell signal closes, we'll possibly look for opportunities in that direction. Yeah, unfortunately, breakout did not work out today, Steven. It's all good. It worked out for you yesterday, and you can't win every single day. So I would say just take that loss, move on to the next one. All right, we don't really have any confluences here with market profile. There's no body rejections anywhere, so I'll be looking for that. This price tends to move around. Let's see, target said, would it be a red flag since sitting around New York highs? Yes. So depending on how this ends up pushing down further, this could be a possible red flag for MPSV2. So we have a sell signal right here. If this ends up dropping down a little further, Tarek, like drops down to here, retrace and comes back lower, then this would be okay because there'd be no red flags in this area. But if price ends up sitting around this area, and, it retraces and comes back down right there, then yeah, that would be a red flag because it'd be right there at the New York highs. The New York highs and the London highs. Exactly, yeah. So Tarek said makes sense. We want to see price either pull away to the downside or push to the upside. Yeah, exactly. So basically a break and retest, right? Like the same basic pattern, break and retest and then continue down lower. Or like break and retest, but like lower down here. Or we want to see price push up, give us a buy signal, and then climb back up here, right? Because there'd be no red flags around this area. So basically the areas we're looking to trade in would be up here, down here, or up here. You just want to stay away from all these red flag areas. So right here, price is still pushing. With price pushing down like this, we may have the MPSV2 like a little lower down here, right? This might push down a little lower, retrace, and come back down like that. The thing to look out for, guys, is the ATR though. So the ATR is starting to pick back up. It's currently at 66 right now. I'm gonna be a little bit more cautious. I mean, the past couple of days I've been taking like some riskier trades. I would even consider them FOMO trades. Like yesterday's trade was definitely a FOMO trade. It was because of the increased volatility. I thought, okay, if I'm gonna take this trade, price probably keep dropping, but it ended up doing a full-on reversal because of the volatility was too high. So I don't know if I'll push, like if the ATR is like very unusual and it goes closer to 100, I'm probably not going to mess with it. Again, I'm going to keep watching the ATR here to kind of see where the average is, right? I want to figure out what's the number that we're going to be looking for the next couple weeks, if not next couple months. Typically we were at like 25, 45, our TP stop loss was set at 30, but now it's at 66, so it might be a little higher. So there's an MPSV2 setting up right here, guys, if anybody's looking to take it. The ATR is a little high, so I probably wouldn't use a 50-50. I would maybe use like a 65-65, maybe a 70-70, somewhere close to the ATR, right? You don't want to go too high, you also don't want to go too low. I'm gonna hold off on this. Like I said, I need to wait to find out what the average is before I start taking any entries here. And this candle is looking a little big, so this might be a red flag type entry. Whenever the candle is bigger than your stop loss, that's an oversized candle, right? If it's too big, then you don't want to take it because what happens a lot of times is it retraces up and then it will probably hit your stop loss before it comes down. Happens all the time. That's kind of what was screwing up our trades last week. This candle is way too big, guys. So I wouldn't recommend taking it. If you want to take it, feel free. I'll take a look at the confluences. So this right here is MPSV2 for a sell. There's no confluences here on the 1 minute. There's no rejections up there. There is no confluences here on the 30-minute market profile. Or I mean, there could be a slight confluence there if you would consider this as rejecting, but I don't see it rejecting off the structure. The 1 hour here may be a possible confluence if it drops any lower, because it could be rejecting off this value high. The volume profile over here. See what we got. Volume profile. We got nothing here on the volume profile. Looking over here on the clean chart. And these 50-point levels might not be. Oh, they're okay. So looking on the clean chart over here, we do have a rejection off the top end right here. So there's some confluences here for sell. We have a rejection over here off the clean chart. Looking at the SRs over here, let's see if there's anything. So I'm just looking for confluences for reasons to take the sell there. I'm not in the position, but I'm just looking for confluences here in case anybody decided to take that trade. We got the SRs over here, support resistance. All right, so looking at this here, we don't have any, well, I mean, we sort of have rejections, but they're not good rejections. They're rejections on the opposite end. We do have one rejection here off the entry candle. So we have a support resistance rejection off the top. We have a top rejection right here off the whole number, 39,300. We have no rejections here, or we sort of have a rejection here off the value high, but it's also rejecting off the point of control down here as well. So it's kind of a double, the confluence isn't a great one. We have a rejection right here off the 1 hour time frame off the value high. It's barely rejecting off it. We have nothing on the 30-minute. And we have a rejection off the value high here on the 1 minute. So the trade actually hit. If you guys took the trade right here for the NPSV2, like I said, I was kind of adapting to the ATR. So instead of using a 50-50, I used a 65-65 and it hit full TP right there. If you guys took it, solid work. If you guys didn't, it's completely fine. I'm still trying to figure out what the average is here. Trying to see what the average movement is. What's the normal movement? Because we don't have that yet. Yesterday was moving too fast. Today it's moving a little slower, but not, I wouldn't say a crazy amount slower. Yeah, exactly. Tarek said the ATR is slowly ticking up. Yeah, exactly. So like we want to figure out what's that sweet spot, right? For the past couple of months, we knew the sweet spot was 30. If the sweet spot right now is going to be set 65, 70, then okay, great. We'll use those numbers. But right now, we just don't have that number here. So it's looking like the sweet spot might be around 70. It's 6:39 right now, so we're getting we're about like 10 minutes into the market. So we'll kind of see if this ends up staying around this area, if it picks up or if it drops. So you can see over here, now it's starting to drop. You can see the average is like between 60 and 70. So I'm going to sit out while I can, and I'm going to just watch the ATR, kind of figure out where the sweet spot is. Looking over here at the overall trend, so the 4 hours currently bearish. You can see prices below the pivots. The trend meter is red. The pivots are angling down. The 1 hour time frame over here, price is it was bearish. It's shifting up to the bullish now. Price is swinging to the upside. 30-minute over here, price is bullish. You can see price is swinging to the upside as well. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. 1 hour, 10 minutes bullish, 5 minutes bullish, and the 1 minute here is bearish. So it's pretty mixed across the board. We don't have it's not all going in one direction. So like I said earlier, the market isn't necessarily going one direction like it's been going for the past 2 days. Obviously, it's been kind of dumping. Today, it's kind of in a range now, which is good. We want price in a range because we don't want price to be super unpredictable, right? We want it to be predictable so that we can get in and get out and repeat the process. We've just been in like this crazy market for the past it's only been like a couple days, honestly. Like I think the tariff news was released last Wednesday. So it's only been like, it hasn't been a full week yet since the market's been moving kind of crazy. But I will pay attention to the news because the news is going to be really important. There's no high impact news events today, I don't believe. There's just Fed member daily speaking later at 11 o'clock. We have 3-year note auction at 10 o'clock, low impact. See any breaking news here from CNBC? So let's see. Trump had a great call with South Korea. China says China wants to make a deal. Makes sense. So like I said before, guys, this whole tariff thing, it was a bargaining move it was basically a chess move for Trump, right? He was doing this for bargaining power. So now everyone's kind of starting to agree with Trump. He's threatening like 50% tariffs on China. And then they're just negotiating now. So like I said before, guys, like the market here was moving crazy for the past couple of days, but it's going to stabilize. So right here, update from CNBC. Dow rebounds 1,000 points on rising hopes for tariff deals. So the market might go back to normal over the next couple of weeks, if not a couple months or so. But right now, it's still kind of crazy. You can see the ATR is at 80 right now, right? So we're not out of the rut yet, but I think it's best to be able to sit on your hands. I think that's the hardest thing. Even for myself, yesterday it was hard for me to sit on my hands because I saw so much volatility in the market. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy to catch some trades. But what happened was I kept getting spiked out because the vol, like for example, look at this candle right here. This green candle, this was unexpected, right? We had some nice candles here. Like this was a nice move to the downside, and then all of a sudden we get this huge red candle and this huge green candle. We measure this green candle right here. This is an abnormal candle. It's a 160-point candle right there. If you were chasing a sell here, you would have been screwed because this would have stopped you out without, this is kind of what happened with me yesterday. The news came out yesterday with the fake news. If you guys remember, basically it said that Trump was taking away all tariffs aside from China. And then the market pushed up like 2,000 points within like seconds. It's crazy. So the good thing with this here is that it's not really, I mean, we're having a couple like crazy candles that just pop out of nowhere, but the thing is we're not getting a bunch of crazy ones where it's like huge range to the upside, right? And then huge range to the downside, etc. It's more so here kind of going back and forth. So you guys can see the ATR down below right here. Just want to clean it up a little bit. It's at 77 right now. We're looking to see where's the number when it's stable. It might be closer to 80. But the ATR is just shooting up because of these big candles. Like if we didn't have this huge candle here, this would probably still be at 70. So we have a possible opportunity here for MPSV2 to the upside for a buy. The ATR is currently 79, so you probably want to use like an 80 TP stop loss. This is where it becomes hard because unless you're trading directly on TradingView, it's going to be hard to set up or to figure out what your contract size should be because all my accounts are different, so I have to do the math. But let's take a look at the confluences. So looking over here at the 1 minute market profile, we don't have any rejections off the bottom side, so there's no confluences there for a buy. We do have a rejection right here on the 30 minute. It's a rejection off the value high. Looking over here at the 1 hour time frame, we don't have any rejections off the bottom end. So we only have one confluence right now on the 30 minute. Looking over here at the volume profile, there's no rejections right here off the bottom end. There's a small rejection that happened a long time ago, but it's not a recent one. We do have one rejection here off the whole number. It's going to be at the 39,300. And we don't really have any rejections here off the support resistance. So there's only two confluences here for a buy. It's a rejection right here off the whole number, 39,300. And then we have a rejection over here off the 30 minute time frame off the value high. So there's not a lot of confluences here. The other problem here is if you do take an entry, you're going to have to cut into the sessions above, right? This is going to be a red flag right here. So I would probably sit out on this buy if anybody's looking to take it. If you want to take it again, I'm going to mark it up for you guys. But remember to take these trades at your own risk. I'm also going to keep looking at the ATR to see if there's going to be any changes we need to make. Currently, I have it set to 80, which I think is okay. If this candle closes above this black line, this is going to be a setup for an MPSV2. Again, like I said, it's not going to be one that I really recommend taking because it's going to have to cut into the sessions right here, which is a red flag. Doesn't mean that's not going to happen and it won't push through, but you might get some manipulation as you get closer to this area, right? Price might bounce off it and come back down, maybe come back up. It's going to be what I consider a tricky entry. All right, this candle is closing in about 10 seconds. Again, if you want to take a trade, I'd mark it up for you guys here. If you don't want to take it, just sit out with me and just wait. I'm waiting for a better opportunity here. There's only two confluences. So there goes the entry right there. There's only one confluence here on the 30 minute and then one confluence here on the clean chart. There's just not enough for me to want to take it. So I'll follow up for you guys. I'm not in this position, just following it to see, what may happen here. It's possible break and retest of this area. Continuation up higher. So this is where it's going to become a little messy. This price will push up, retest, probably push up higher, maybe bounce back down, maybe bounce back up. We don't know what's going to happen here. So you have a nice rejection right there off the pivots. Hey, what's up, CJ? Morning. Didn't really miss much. There was an entry over here for an NPSV2. I adjusted the TP stop loss based on the ATR. ATR was about like 65, so I set it to 65, 65. Again, with this entry right here, there's an entry that's currently running. The ATR is currently at 79 right now, so I changed this to 80, 80 to match the ATR. The only problem here is that it's at a red flag. The other thing too that I just noticed is that the candle for entry was too big. So there's like two red flags here. The candle's too big, and then also it's right at the sessions. So I mean, if anybody wants to take it, I've got that marked up for you guys. It's currently running in profit. It's just not an entry that I would feel comfortable taking. I'm going to be more conservative, guys. I know lately I've been kind of risky with my trades, but I'm going to be a lot more conservative like I should be. Because I have to lead by example. I'm gonna take this off. I don't want you guys to think that I'm in it, but I need to lead by example, because if I'm taking risky trades, you guys are gonna try to take risky trades as well, and that's just not the style that I trade. I trade conservative. So main thing I'm looking for again is I'm still looking for the ATR to figure out what's the sweet spot. Whatever the sweet spot is, I'm gonna keep it at that. Because it's too hard for me to go through and change my TP stop loss for every single trade. If I was just trading like one type of account, then it'd be easy, but my Apex accounts are 300K. So like the contract size is different for that versus my Tradeify, which is 150K. And then my take profit trader, which is also 150K, but the risk is different. The risk on Tradeify, I think is 6,000, and the risk on take profit trader is like 4,500. So it's different. Yeah, Christian said it says 78, but the candles are moving 100 points. Yeah, that's why it's bumping up a little bit, Christian. So if you look over here at the ATR, it was like at 79 earlier, and then it just keeps slightly pushing up a little higher because each candle here is huge, right? So let's see, this candle right here is about like 90 points. The one before that was like 100 points. Like, I don't want to trade when there's 100-point candles, guys. I think this is going to be like, I learned my lesson yesterday. Trading when there's 100-point candles, it's not worth the risk, because those candles are too big. When they're moving that fast, they can easily just like switch up on you. And that's why for me personally, it's probably best to just sit out then to, take that risk. Like I kind of hope we go back to like normal market, like 30-point candles, 50-point candles, those are cool. But when you go up to 100 points, those candles are huge. So for me personally, I'm probably going to sit out until, the market really starts to stabilize a little bit. Even if I don't take any trades today, I'm okay with that. Because if you want to last in this trading game, you guys have to, this is an endurance game. I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. Like, trading is really an endurance game. It's like, how long can you last, right? Because we had a pretty good couple months. Yeah, we had a pretty good couple months. This is one of those months where it can really make or break you. Like, you can have like, for example, if you've been trading with me since January, we've been killing it since January, right? If you start to trade on tilt in April, this could really screw up your whole account. Like, you can blow your accounts if you keep taking risky trades, and you're just gonna have to start over again. I know a lot of you guys have started with me in January. You've passed your evals, you've gotten your payouts. Your goal now is really to keep those accounts, right? Like, you traded risky to get those accounts passed, but now that you're funded, you should really like tone it back with the risk, because the last thing you want to do is blow those accounts and then have to do another eval. Well, I mean, if you're doing a 50K account, not a big deal, but for someone like me who's on a 300K account, like it's a grind. Like, here, let me see. I'll see if I do the math here. So if you're doing a 50K account, I think it's like I think your goal is like 3,000, right? Your drawdown is like 2,500. So divided by 3. This is how much risk you'll take per trade. And then if you're going to be trading, we'll say a 50 contract, or not, we'll say a 50 TP stop loss, which is going to be like average markets, like 5 times 5 times 50. That's too big. 3 times 5 times 50. Okay, so say for example, you're making this amount, right? 3,000 divided by 750. It's only going to take you 4 winning days to pass. Versus if you're on a 300K account, it is 20,000 profit target times or divided by 3. And then you'll be basically using a 15 contract size. So 15 times 50, 3,000. No, there's no way to be taking that much. 9 times 5. 5 times 50. It's 220. So 20,000 divided by. Yeah, so you see how long it takes? It's like almost double the time to pass. You have to have like at least 9 winning days consecutively to pass a 300K count. So just put that into context, guys. Like if your main goal is really, if you're doing an eval, your main goal is to get funded, and then once you're funded, you want to stay funded. It's different if you're doing it straight to funded because you don't have to do the eval phase, but with Apex, it's you guys know how it is. It's a grind. And you gotta pay all these fees, and it's kind of like, what's the point at that point? All right, we're currently looking at a buy momentum here. So we get a buy momentum, prices pushing up. We have a red candle right here. This is a possible setup for an MPSV2. The only problem is that we're right next to the sessions right here, this green line. This is the New York high and the London high. Let's take a look at our confluences. So I don't see any confluences here on the 1 minute. There's no bottom rejection, so there's nothing here for me on the 1 minute time frame. On the 30-minute time frame, we do have a rejection right here off the value high. That's one confluence. There's no confluence over here on the 1 hour. There's nothing here on the volume profile. There's a push away from the point of control, but it's not a rejection. I like to see the rejections where price really pushes away from it. And then looking over here on the clean chart, we have a rejection right here off the whole number, but this happened about 3 minutes ago, so it's not an immediate rejection. This happened at the 39,250 price point. Then looking over here on the SR chart, we do have a rejection right here off the support level. So we do have a couple confluences. I don't think these are enough for me to want to take an entry, but we have a small rejection here off the support resistance. We have a small older rejection right here off the clean chart. And then we have one rejection right here off the value high in the 30 minutes. So it's about 3 confluences for a buy here. This is an MPSV2 setting up. Again, the problem here that I'm looking at is the ATR should probably be, or the ATR is currently at 82. Your TP stop loss will be around 80. The main problem here is that price is touching the sessions. Right, so I wouldn't consider this I wouldn't consider this a quality entry, because what happens when price gets to the sessions here is it starts to kind of consolidate. Like, it doesn't mean it's not gonna push up. Like, look at this, for example. So here's the entry for the MPSV2. So looking at this for an example, see price kind of pushes around it for a bit, sits here for a little bit, it comes back, retests, and then it skyrockets up. So I don't necessarily think it's not going to push up. I think it might sit here for a little bit and then maybe push up eventually. And that's a big maybe. So right there, the trade's currently running in profit slightly. The ATR is starting to drop down a little bit. This is what I like to see. I want to see the ATR drop down, right? Currently at 79. So that's good. I don't want the ATR to push any higher. I want it to drop down so that market here can kind of start to move a little more stable. Let's take a look at the news real quick. Any breaking news from CNBC? Nothing here, just the same stuff we looked at earlier. Take a look at BizTalk real quick. So for a lot of you guys who are holding XRP, it says Ripple is to acquire Hidden Road for 1.25 billion. So Ripple is starting to acquire companies, which is good for people who are holding, they're starting to build up their assets. Nothing crazy here. So I was just trying to see if there was any breaking news that we should probably be looking at. Trump tariffs. So JP Morgan CEO, US can align with India amid Trump's tariffs. I don't really see any other news events here. All right, so it's doing exactly what I just said, right? So like I said earlier, this is why I wouldn't want to trade out the sessions, guys, because look what's happening. Price is just sitting here. This is typically what happens when price gets to the sessions. And again, I don't necessarily think this is going to come down. You know, this could possibly break and retest, and that's exactly what's happening here. Look at the break and retest. Beautiful. It's doing exactly what we anticipated. So it's doing pretty much what it was doing earlier over here. So see how price kind of broke above it? So this is the same thing, the same exact setup, or not setup, but pattern happening a second time, right? Price came above the sessions here, basically went up for a little bit, retested, and then it came right back up. The thing with this is that it's not always guaranteed to happen. That's why like I wasn't really super convinced that this would have been a good entry for me to take. But if you guys took it, it looks like it's about to hit CP right there. The ATR is starting to lower a little bit. Or it's starting to kind of, I think 80 might be the sweet spot. There you go, full TP right there. If you guys took that, great work to whoever caught it. You guys can see here the strategy is working, so that's a good sign. The thing is, it depends on your risk appetite, right? If you want to take the riskier trades, feel free, I'm marking them up for you. And if you want to sit out and just wait, then sit out and wait with me. But the ATR here is, so it's starting to slow down a little bit. See, it's back to 75. That's a good thing, because now if this is the average, you know, if the average is between 70 and 80, then we can use a 75 TP stop loss, right? That might be our number. But again, I'm trying to figure out what that number is first before I start hopping into trades. Yeah, Tarek said being in the market for a long time teaches a lot. It's not about how many trades you take. Wisest people take the least trades, but are consistent. Yeah, and exactly. That's exactly what I've been doing and what I've been doing. And this is what I talk about with Jarrell too. So I feel like a lot of people have the wrong misconception about these prop firms. So a lot of people think that these prop firms want you to make them a lot of money. The thing is, they don't really care about making a lot of money. They care about making consistent money, right? Like you got to put yourself in the shoes of these prop firms. If these prop firms are going to give you, like right now, you're on a sim funded account, but when you move to a live funded account, if you were the owner of that account, you would want your trader or whoever you hire to trade your account to have consistent profits, right? That's why they have a consistency rule, because they don't want people who are making a ton of profit one day and then losing it all the next day, right? And then make a whole bunch the next day and then having double the loss the next day, right? Like they don't like a graph like this where your profits are like they're super erratic, up, down, up, down. This is why people get denied payouts, because they can't be trusted. They want someone who's making profits, making profits, having maybe a loss here and there, making more profits, maybe a loss there, higher, 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 right, etc. That's why I never get denied payouts. Like if you look over here at my so looking over here on my, let's see, year to date. If you guys look at my chart over here, like see, I don't really have big losses. I have losses so often, but like it goes up, comes down a little bit, then it comes back up. Then I have a couple losses here, then it comes back up. But I'm consistent. Like every month, I'm pretty consistent with my profits. I'm like in a consistent swing to the upside with regard to growth. Like my profits aren't all over the place. I'm not like making profits and blowing my account, and making profits and blowing my account. I'm like making profits. Like right now, I'm kind of like going back and forth, but for the most part, that's what these prop firms are looking for, right? They want you to be consistent. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. That's why if you trade my strategies, we're trading 1-to-1. Our win ratio is pretty decent. Like so, the win ratio, if we're to just factor in our scalps, so from January 20th up until let's say April 8th. So my win ratio is about 80%, 80.16. So these are all my stats for just the scalping trees. See how it's like a consistent push to the upside. And that's what you want to aim for. You want to strive to be consistent, not necessarily having these huge profits every day, like every day or every other day, but you want to be consistent to the point where it's like kind of like a job. You know, that's how I treat trading for the most part. I treat it like a job. I come in the morning with you guys here at 6:30 to 8. Look for my trade. If my trade comes in, great. If it doesn't, then not really forcing anything here. All right, so the ATR is currently at 75. This is a good sign. We like to see this. We want, like, this is, like I said earlier, our range is between 70 and 80. We want to stay around that area. If it drops below 70, perfect, because then we'll know when the market's slow. Like, we just want to stay within that range. So average, or I'll put current average ATR is going to be like between 70 and 80. Now, that's just like for right now. So this is good because if we have an average ATR between 70 and 80, we can go in between, right? We'll have the in-between number. So instead of using 30-30 like before, we'll use basically a 70, 75-75, something like that. So we'll see. But right now the ATR is currently at 74, which is good. As long as we're not making those crazy ATRs like yesterday, right? Yesterday it was like 70, then it went to 80, then it went to 100, then it went to 200. Right now it looks like the sweet spot's gonna be around 70, which is good. Just gotta find some sort of consistency with regard to the price movement. Yeah, CJ said, yeah, I understand you being more conservative. I'm still recovering from the utter shock and excitement from yesterday. Yeah, like honestly, guys, I don't think we're gonna see a market like yesterday again for a while. 2,000 point moves within like minutes. Those are like there's no I mean there's reasoning behind it, but there's no like logical reasoning behind it. It's just people were reacting to the news and people are just going on a frenzy. I'm hoping that we're starting to go on a recovery move here because my investment accounts, well, I mean they're doing a little better now. Let me see. Like my IRA accounts, my 401k, they were looking horrible for the past week. But let me see, my triple mine is up right now. Kind of curious to see where it's currently sitting. Should be in the green. Yeah. So I'm not, I haven't recouped all of my losses, but um it's not as bad. So the main stock that I hold right now that's really bad is Nike. Obviously because of the tariffs, right? Tariffs in Bangladesh, tariffs on Vietnam, tariffs on everywhere really. So my Nike stocks, they were down about like 52 or 53% on Monday. They're now down 37%. So they've recouped a lot. I'm also holding a decent amount of Intel. It was down like 50% as well. It's now down to 20%. Everything else that I'm holding is in profit. So I made a lot of money up with these other stocks over the past like 5-6 years. I have a lot of JP Morgan, I have a lot of Cisco, a lot of QQQ, a lot of Verizon, a lot of AT&T. All of these are doing good. The only red stocks that I have here are Nike and Intel, which was a given. Intel was a I mean it's like in competition with Nvidia, so and they got taken off the Dow. So I might have to just sell those off at some point. Yeah, exactly. Tarek said crypto portfolio is down like 70-80%. Everything's down. I know. I was talking to someone, I don't think you know him, Tarek, but I was talking to this one dude from our gym. He doesn't go to our gym anymore, but he's like really big on XRP. Like this guy's been holding XRP for like since like people started talking about it. And he was super excited for a while, and then when it went up, and then the lawsuit. But then when it came back down, he was like, "Fuck, should have sold it when it was like at two something." Where's price right now for XRP? Let me check. The thing with XRP is a long play though, right? It's not something that like that's not XRP. Yeah, I mean it's not like it didn't drop a crazy amount. It's like it's still good. So yeah, I mean for myself, because I'm like holding this stuff. Once Bitcoin gets back to 100, I'm gonna offload my Bitcoin because I just don't like holding it anymore. But yeah, XRP has dropped quite a bit, but not a lot. It's still around the $2 range. Yeah, exactly. Target said still at 400% from a year ago, and Bitcoin as well. See, man, Bitcoin took a slump, which is okay. I mean, it's kind of back to where it was before. I was just like, damn, I should have sold it when it was like at. Thing is, I don't need the money, so it's like it's not a big deal. I can just hold on to it. But yeah, I was like, fuck, I should have sold it when it was at like when I was about to sell it when it was at 105 because it kind of started to stabilize here a little bit, and I was like, okay, this is probably like where it's gonna shoot up higher. But then it just ended up ranging right there, which is all good. I mean, if I ever needed the cash, I can just sell off what I have now, but we'll see. All right, back to our YM chart. So there's nothing here right now, guys. Both of the entries right here came up that hit. The ATR is looking good now. So looking at the ATR, it's currently at 74 ATR. With that said, we will probably be setting our TP stop loss on average around 75, 75, or it might be even lower. Looks like the ATR dropped down to 70 right here. Yeah, Christian said, but in some way, I think it will happen the same as COVID. People make fortunes buying the dips and on investments. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Christian. Um, we talked about this last week. Like I said, these tariffs, I see them as a bigger scheme of things. That's why I didn't really sell off any of my investments, right? All of my IRA accounts. I mean, I probably could have sold them and then bought them at the dip, or I could have added more at the dip. But yeah, I don't think the market's not going to crash. Like these tariffs are not going to crash the stock market. If anything, it's going to cause more volatility, like it did yesterday. Um, So it doesn't really affect us as much. I mean, some of you guys have retirement accounts from work, right? 401ks, IRAs, etc. But for us as day traders, it doesn't really affect us too much because when the market's moving crazy, we can just sit out, right? Like I'm okay with sitting out the market for like a couple of days, if not a whole week. If it means that I can like protect my capital, and then we kind of just wait for our entries to come up or we adapt with the market. Yeah, Stern said October will conclude XRP. I agree. It's gonna take a couple more months, to kind of see what's gonna happen because like now that they've won their lawsuit, they can now start acquiring assets. Yeah, Tarek said I believe assets will recover in the next few weeks going into the year end. Yeah, I think so too. I think we're gonna be back into a bull run. Like the news over here with the tariffs. If Trump can make a deal with, if he start, because I think this is what's gonna happen. I think by the end of probably by summer or by the end of spring, he's gonna drop all the tariffs and then everyone's gonna be happy, right? We're gonna all agree to something. It's just in Trump's nature, right? Like you guys know who Trump is. It's not like he's doing this stuff for whatever reason. He's pretty much just he's doing this for bargaining power. Let's see what happened here. So it says Trump tariffs. Elon calls Peter Navarro dumber than a stack a sack of bricks. I don't know who Peter Navarro is. I'm assuming he's part of the Fed. Um, yeah, I'm not sure who Peter Navarro is, but let's see. Yeah, Trump claims China wants to make a deal but hasn't reached out. Well, we'll keep looking to see if there's anything here that comes up. Otherwise, the market here is starting to kind of stabilize a little bit. So I do like that it's starting to move in some sort of range, right? Back and forth, back and forth. Let's see, I'll mark this up. So the reason why I like price to move in a range here is that it's going to start establishing a market profile. So normally I wouldn't like a range like this, but because market volatility is so high, the range is actually a good thing. So if you look over here at the market profile, it's starting to kind of establish an area where price is likely to bounce from, right? So like you can see over here, fakes out, and then it comes back up. Ideally, I'm expecting this to push back up to the point of control. So the 1 minute time frame over here, we don't have any rejections, but price is likely to push back up higher to this point of control right there. Possibly. Not doesn't have to, but possibly. Looking at this, I'm gonna put a black line right here so we can kind of see. So it looks like price might have reached the point of control right here on the 30-minute already. Do the same thing with the 1 hour. Almost. I don't think it's touched it yet, but it's almost there. Volume profile is projecting off the top end right here. Clean chart, we're getting a rejection right here after the bottom end. Support resistance. All right, let's see. So there's nothing here yet. We have the buyers in control right here, of course. Now we haven't been able to like mark this up to see who's in control in a while because of the because obviously the sellers have been in control for the past week. But now that we have this, price is kind of like starting to move directional, we can kind of identify who's in control again. The buyers are currently in control right here. We have an engulfing candle, V1 variation, price pushing up higher. Let's see if it pushes up to this next area. Like I said earlier, the target area that I'm looking for is going to be the point of control. That's kind of where I'm looking for price to push up. It got really close to it, but it didn't necessarily touch it yet. So. See, Christian said I was even using Kodi Kai indicators to see the VGT and explained to my wife why she should buy all the Roth IRA maximum investment at once because even the weekly has a sell signal. Yeah, Vanguard, right? Check that out quick. It's like VGT. Yeah, Vanguard, that's what I figured. Yeah, if you're gonna buy into stuff, like that's a smart move, right? Buying into an ETF, right? Buying into the Vanguard, buying into the QQQ, buying into SPY. These are all ETFs that they're not gonna go anywhere. So yeah, you just have to look at it from a higher, obviously a higher lens. Because obviously you're not gonna trade those on the 1 minute. It's gonna be like on the daily, if not weekly. Actually shouldn't. Let's see, let's take a look at VGT real quick. Look at the Vanguard. I'm gonna go on we'll go on the daily. Yeah, I mean, right now, so if you wanted to buy a dip for the Vanguard, I'd probably wait a little lower. I mean, it's been dumping, obviously. It's been dumping for a while, actually. The Vanguard hasn't been doing so well. So the VGT is the tech version of it. I probably wouldn't mess with VGT. I would probably mess with QQQ instead. I'm not sure. So if you're trading the regular Vanguard, not the tech version of it, the regular Vanguard's okay, but the tech one, I'd probably go for QQQ instead of VGT. They're the same thing though. VGT basically mirrors it mirrors QQQ in a sense. It's just I'd rather just go for QQQ because it's like it's the leading. Christian said he would wait for an MPS. Yeah, exactly. Wait for that pattern to swing back to the upside. Yeah, but the thing with those stocks, or with those types of assets is that those are the kind that you kind of like average in. Those are the ones that you dollar cost average into. Um, yeah, exactly. Certain to degree, buy in monthly. Yeah, I usually buy in the beginning of the year. This year, actually, like thankfully, I didn't because I think the max contribution to like IRAs is like 12,000 per year. I actually didn't contribute yet because, and I'm glad I didn't because then I get in at such a crappy price. I can probably contribute when this price gets any lower, and I'd probably buy into, like I said, I'd probably buy into QQQ or SPY or the regular Vanguard, not the tech one. And when I do buy into it, I'll probably let you guys know to let you guys know what. Oh, you're right. Yeah, so Christian's right. It is. It's 7,000, I think. The thing is, like, I don't even know if I can use it Roth anymore because before I was I filed my taxes as individual, but I got married last year. So like my wife, she makes pretty good money as a nurse. So on paper, it shows that I'm making money now. For the past couple of years, I've been writing everything off, like obviously business expenses. And I bought my car and I'm like buying stuff for the business. So like it typically shows that I'm not making money on paper, but I'm buying stuff. So like the money's going somewhere. Um, so now it shows that I'm making even more because I reported last year that I made a pretty good amount, and then and then on top of that, my wife also made money, so it's like double income. So I don't know if I could even do Roth because I think you're capped depending on how much money you make per year. I'm gonna have to roll my Roth into something else, into possibly a regular IRA. So there's nothing really happening here, guys. It's okay. I mean, see, here's the good thing. The good thing is that looking at the ATR, so the ATR is doing what we were hoping for, right? It's staying around 70. So we don't have really much movement here. What we're looking for is a sell signal to come up so we can get this to push back down and then possibly take a sell. Or if we get that sell signal, look for this to retrace a little bit and then come back up, right? And then maybe take some entries up here. The good thing that we have here is that the ATR is starting to slow down a little bit. So the ATR is currently at 70 right now. What we've been trying to do today is find out what the average is. So like what's the average candle size? What's the average movement? So that we know what TP stop loss to use. From looking at this here, I was hoping that our average candle would be around 50 points, but it's looking more like 70 to 75. So this is what I consider normal movement, right? Like we don't have these huge 100-point candles anymore. These candles they're pretty average size in relation to each other. So, I mean, this candle's still kind of big. It's like 86. But these candles over here are not so big. They're like 75. And then we're starting to get smaller candles right here. So you can see that we're slowly going back into a normal market, which is a good thing. We don't want to trade in a crazy market. We want to trade in a normal market. ATR is down to 69, 70. Now, see, Tarek said if you ignore the volatility on Bitcoin, on average, Bitcoin does 60% per year since its existence. Not a bad idea to have exposure to Bitcoin, even a small percentage. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you 100%, Tarek. That's why, like, for me, I haven't sold my Bitcoin. I've just been holding on to it. Like, if a rainy day ever comes along and I need the cash, then of course I'll just offload it. But yeah, I'm in profit on Bitcoin, so I'm not like I didn't buy at the highs. I think if you bought at the highs, that's where you'd be kind of hurting, right? Like some people bought at like 100 or some people bought at 90, and I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. Um, for me, I bought like around the 40s. So I bought around 40s, maybe. Well, I didn't. I've never bought. Well, no, I bought crypto. Most of my Bitcoin that I have are just payments from like international clients, and my roommate used to pay me rent in Bitcoin. So a long time ago. So yeah, I got in at like pretty cheap. Like I think I initially started to build my Bitcoin portfolio around like 17,000, then around like 30, then 40, then 50, and now it's at like 70. So I've made profit on it. And that's why I'm okay with not selling it. But I made a pretty good amount when it got up to above 100. So I was like, man, I should have just sold it at that point. Either way, I'm in profit with Bitcoin, so it's not really a big deal. It's just it's the thought of paying taxes on it once I do cash it out. That's what I don't look forward to. So here's the crazy thing too. If you guys want to trade Bitcoin, like I saw Coinbase, they started promoting it. They're promoting Bitcoin futures now because the tax, if you want to day trade Bitcoin, the tax is 60/40. So you don't pay as much in taxes. Let's see. Sam said he took an MPSV2 at 1502. So 1502, I'm assuming that was 702 for you, right? Or 702 our time. So I didn't see an MPS V2 there. There was an MPS, all right, you said A plus plus. Yeah, you're right. So the A plus plus did come up right there as a V1 variation in engulfing on this candle. Sam took it there for 50 points and he hit his TP. Nice work, Sam. Yeah, solid work right there. So there was an A plus plus right there. Sam took it for 50 points and he went straight to his TP. Little to no drawdown. So nice work right there, Sam, on catching that. Let's see, visual said 39, 920 to 40 is major resistance zone, could trigger shorts. And let's see. Okay. So this is a resistance zone, 99, 920. I can see that, yeah. So I also have liquidity up there, visual. So that kind of lines up with your analysis, right? If price was to push up there, it could grab liquidity and then hit your major resistance like you mentioned, and then come back down. So I'll keep that in mind. I'll just remember that your resistance zone is close to my liquidity up there. We got price coming back down. We have a sell signal right here. Price is pushing down. The main issue with this right here, guys, is that if price does push down any lower, it's going to have to cut into the sessions again, like it did over here earlier. So we have a possible MPS V2 setting up right here. If price retraces up a little bit, comes back down, this could be entry for an MPS V2. The ATR is currently at 69 right now. So I would probably use a 70-point TP stop loss if anybody is looking to get in anywhere over here. So that would be 70 points. Yeah, this is gonna be a problem, right? Because if this entry is gonna have to cut through the sessions again, which not exactly where I want to be with regard to entry. Yeah, Stern said he would hold Bitcoin as long as possible. It will become a very much wanted asset. Yeah, asset. Yeah, I agree with you too. That's why, like, for me, um, like I'm not buying more into Bitcoin. I think this would probably be a good time to buy more into Bitcoin if you guys wanted to. Like, I think the price where it's currently at 79% or 79,000 is, I don't think it's cheap, but I think it's at value right now. And you can kind of see it too. Like, so for example, like you guys know how I use the market profile here. Oh crap, wrong thing. Oh yeah, market profile. Um, well, actually, no, the market profile wouldn't work on the daily, but like we were talking about before for the Bitcoin here, there's areas where you can buy from, right? And these dip areas. So like right now, I think price is like this is what we would consider a value area, right? So you can buy more Bitcoin right here if anybody wanted to buy around the 76 range, and then if it drops any lower, 66. I think here is like super bargain. If price ever comes back down to 60s, I think this is a very good bargain for Bitcoin. For anybody who's looking to buy into Bitcoin. I wouldn't buy super high though. I think the people who bought above, like that was a pretty dumb move, right? People who bought up here at 100, because that's way too high. Yeah, these are good buying points for Bitcoin if anybody's looking to get in from there. All right, back to our charts. So the sells over here never played out, guys. So we had a possible sell MPSV2 that was trying to set up, didn't actually set up. We currently have a buy signal here that's currently now pending. If this buy signal closes, we may have price push back up higher, like we mentioned earlier. So we're stuck in this range right now. See how price is ranging between this range? I drew this range earlier when price first cut into this area. So it's been ranging within this area for about 30 minutes now. We currently have the buy signal here that pushed above. This again could possibly start setting up for an MPSV2. The ATR is currently at 73 right now. So if you want to take a trade here for MPSV2, probably use a 75.75. 50-50 is not going to be the case today. I think 75.75 might be better, if not lower. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start to set up my TP stop loss a little bit. I'm going to adjust my TP stop loss to make sense of the conditions we have now. So I'm going to change all these to 6. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. I'm not taking the trade yet. I'm just I'm changing up my copier so that if I do decide to take the trade, it'll be ready to go. All right, trade 5. Really cheap profit. All right, so let's take a look at the confluences real quick. Looking over here at the 1 minute 1 minute market profile. So we don't have any confluences from the bottom. You do have a top rejection right here. Looking over here at the 30-minute market profile, it's a little tricky. We have rejections on both sides right here. So we have rejection off the top end, value high. We also have rejection off the bottom end right here, point of control. We got the same dilemma over here with the 1 hour time frame, rejection off the value high. The buys here aren't looking super great. Market profile, or sorry, volume profile, we have rejection right here off the point of control. No rejections here. No rejections here. All right, so looking at this so far, we only have like one or two confluences. We have a volume profile confluence here, which it's not even a strong one. And then we have one over here on the 30-minute, which is rejecting off the point of control, which is no longer rejecting off the point of control anymore. So there's not very many confluences here for a buy, guys, which I don't think the buy is even setting up. So there is actually no entry here for the buy. We're currently just stuck within the range. So it looks like the market has kind of stabilized a little bit, right? We don't have those crazy movements. Price is going back and forth, and the ATR is consistently around 70 to 80. So I think our TP stop loss moving forward on average might be around 75 for now, which is good, right? We have a number in mind. I think the fact that we have a number in mind, this kind of makes a big difference with regard to our entries, because now we can just have a set TP stop loss for every trade. We'll kind of have to see how the market moves for the next couple of days, of course. You know, just because it's at 75 today doesn't mean this is going to be the same thing tomorrow. Tomorrow we have FOMC news, so the minutes are coming out tomorrow at 11. There's no news today, so market's kind of flat. Yeah, tomorrow we have FOMC minutes at 11. This is going to be big because they're going to be discussing, well, I already know for sure that the Fed is not going to say that we're moving into recession, right? If you guys listened to what Powell said a couple of days back, Powell mentioned that, you know, the economy is okay, we're good. And I think if these tariffs here start to fall off, then even better. So we'll see. We'll see, but yeah, you can see how good the ATR is starting to look a bit normal now. Before it was at like 25 to 40, now it's like 70 to 80. So this is going to be our new norm of ATR. We have a sell signal here that's active. This could possibly set up for a sell entry. The problem with this here again is it's either going to be too close to the sessions or it's going to be touching the opening price, which is a red flag. I think this red flag could possibly be ignored if the proper entry comes out. Let's see. So we have a rejection right here off the point of control. We also have a rejection over here off the old point of control. 30-minute time frame, we have a rejection off the bottom end right here. 1 hour time frame, we have a rejection off the value high. Volume profile, we have a rejection off the point of control right there. See, 1 minute clean chart over here, we have a rejection off the, that's not much going on here. We have a rejection off the bottom end actually. So buys here are actually starting to look a little better. If you guys want to take this trade, I'll mark it up for you guys. This red candle would have to close below this black line. Let's see, CJ said, I stayed on the charts yesterday after our live session, not to trade, but just to watch the market. I had snacks and ordered pizza like it was a Super Bowl. Yeah, no, I was pulling up the charts yesterday too, because I was kind of curious to see if there was going to be a recovery. I didn't necessarily pull up my charts, but I pulled up my investment accounts to see how everything was doing. I made like a slight profit yesterday, which I was really surprised. And now it's kind of just it's slowly climbing up. I'm not making a lot back, but yeah, like today I'm back up a couple of $1,000, but I was down like $8,000 from like last week, so it's not really much. I'm still down. Or not, I'm not down. I'm like slightly in profit and whatnot. All right, so we have a possible buy signal here currently pending. You guys can see over here the range that I drew up. It's still respecting the range. So no more sells here. Price never came back below this sell momentum, so the sell entry never came up. We have a pending buy signal right here. So if that buy signal closes, this may climb back up a little bit higher. Nothing there yet. Rejection off the point of control down here on the 1 minute, 30-minute rejection off the point of control. 1 hour, nothing there. I think price might just stay flat within this area for a while, guys. So you can see the market here is sort of back to normal, which is it's a double-edged sword. It's good because we don't have those crazy movements to get spiked out. It's not so good because we don't have direction now. But the thing is, at least we're starting to figure out what the average range is now. So I think this was a good day to just feel out the average range. If you guys took any of the entries for today, these two hit. So we had an NPSV2 came up over here, another NPSV2, and then an A++ setup. For those of you who are not familiar with the A++, it's basically just a continuation of the NPSV2. The way that this was set up was that the buy signal pushed up from here. We had an NPSV2, we had an engulfing, and then another engulfing V1 right here. So basically the 3-leg prong here. The price pushes up, retrace NPSV2, retrace engulfing, retrace engulfing V1. So basically 3 legs there. Push up, retrace NPSV2, push up, retrace engulfing, push up, retrace another engulfing plus V1 right there. Yeah, Tarek said too close to New York level for me. Buys look better if we can break above and trade above. Yeah, exactly. 100% Tarek. I agree with you. So like I said earlier, I would like to trade up here, right? This is an area where I'm like, okay, if we go up here, this is nice because we get out of this consolidation range. Or even below, right? If price comes below, that's cool too. I'm okay with looking for entries down here. But I don't really want to trade in this middle area right here, right? it's a bit of a problem because if you take a sell here, you're probably gonna get caught at this New York high, right? Which is a red flag, of course. And then vice versa, if you trade within this middle area here, you might get caught at the opening price, right? I'm focusing on the red flags today because yesterday a lot of technical analysis was pretty much irrelevant because everything was moving based off news. But today we're back into normal market. So like the structures are being respected. As you guys can see here, right? Respect to the point of control, respect to the point of control there as well, respect to the value high, point of control, etc. Respect to the volume profile, point of control, respect to the whole numbers. Like the market here is starting to move like it's supposed to, which is good because we want to trade a predictable market, right? We don't want to trade a market that's unpredictable and random. Because if you're trading a random market, that's where it becomes tricky. All right, so the ATR is actually dropping a lot now. So the ATR is back to 67. That's mainly because nothing's happening here. Look at the price. Right? If I was to take off my tools here, you guys can see that market here isn't really going anywhere. Which is fine. We kind of needed this. We needed a day where the market would go back to normal and just go sideways so that we can kind of we can analyze better. If you guys like to trade fair value gaps, of course, I have this indicator over here. It's a gap like down here. Price already actually tested it. So I'm looking again for price to push above this area. Once it pushes above this area, be out in the open space. Yeah, I just saw a screenshot right now, chart. Yeah, it does look like it bottomed out a little bit, huh? Down that area. Yeah, if that's the case, then I'll push back up to the 100. Probably by summer, huh? That's what I'm thinking. Late spring, early summer, somewhere around there. Yeah, that tool's cool. It's a cool forecasting, like it forecasts pretty well with future moves. All right, so we're back in this range right here, guys. Well, we've been in the range, so we're not back in the range. We're still in the range. You guys can see there's no entries here that you guys can really take. I mean, technically, if you want to take the entry, guys, this is an NPSB2. It's still active, actually. This is a question that you talked about a while back, Tarek. You were asking about does it matter how long it takes for the entry to set up? And here goes an example for you. It doesn't matter how long, but the longer it takes, I usually wouldn't mess with it. So we had the sell signal here, price retraced up. It's finally breaking and closing below it. The only problem here, guys, if you guys are looking to take this entry, is that we're going to be stuck at the sessions below. So this here is an entry for MPSV2. It is currently running, not in this position. Let's take a look at the confluences if there's anything here. The only problem here that I would be worried about is the fact that, for one, this candle's a little big. Not too big, but it's just a little big. And then the biggest thing that I'm going to be worried about is the sessions right here. So if you do want to take this trade, I probably would just go for a smaller target, maybe 60, maybe even 60, so that you can get out before it reaches the sessions down there, right? Let's take a look at the confluences. The sells over here do not look super great. There's not a lot of confluences up here. There's a rejection right here, I believe, off the point of control in the 30-minute time frame. Oops, wrong tool. Rejection right there off the point of control on the 30-minute. Rejection right here as well on the 1 hour. Actually, there's some pretty good confluences here for a sell. So we got the rejection off the 30-minute, rejection off the 1 hour, rejection off the volume profile, rejection right here off the clean chart, off this whole number, 39,500. And then we have rejection right here off resistance. So the sell here is actually a really good entry. It's just the fact that it's at the sessions makes it, one that I wouldn't want to take. Because you guys can see here that the manipulation is going to tend to happen as it gets closer to the sessions right there. But this is probably going to hit if you just adjusted your TP stop loss a little bit to adapt to not only the ATR, but also to the sessions right here. I think the 60 point will hit. So it's coming down right there. There's just a really late MPSV2 that came up. Full TP right there. If you guys took that, nice work. Looks like Sam caught it. Sam said, LOL, full. Got it. Lucky. Yeah, I know. Nice work, Sam. So here's again, like I said earlier, guys, the strategy is working, which is a good sign because it shows you that it doesn't matter if the market's going crazy, if the volatility is super high, if the ATR is higher, the strategy still works. It's just you have to make adaptations to your TP stop loss, right? We adapted this to 60. I mean, the 75 maybe would have worked. Yeah, the 75 still would have worked, but because of the sessions right here, obviously I wouldn't want to take it that far. I probably would want to get it a little closer to like 60 right there. But if you took it, nice work, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be a little more conservative like I've typically been. Lately, I've been a little riskier, but yesterday was kind of a wake-up call for me because yesterday I really took a dumb trade. Like that trade I took yesterday that lost, even though the price spiked up on me, that was really a FOMO trade. And I had to wake up from that, right? I have to lead by example and show you guys that like you shouldn't be taking FOMO trades because how can I teach you to not take FOMO trades and then I'm taking FOMO trades, right? So I gotta lead the group by example and I'm not gonna take riskier trades anymore. I'll mark them up for you guys and I'll call them out for you guys, but I won't be taking them myself because you guys gotta I can't teach what I don't preach, right? So I have to, whatever I'm teaching you guys, I have to follow it as well. I can't take stuff that I'm telling you guys not to take, or else it just wouldn't make sense. So, all right, guys, it's 7:45 right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. There's a couple entries here that came up. I didn't take any entries today, unfortunately. Fortunately, but unfortunately, I had more discipline today with not taking these riskier trades. As you can see, these trades have different TP stop losses because we were trying to figure out what the ATR would be for the day. The ATR is starting to look like it's going to start to balance out a little bit. So it might even drop down to closer to 60. Earlier we had it closer to 75, but we might even drop it down a little lower because the ATR is looking a little more normal. But you can see every entry here was like different TP stop loss. This was 65, this was 80, this was 50, and this over here was I marked it up as 60, I believe. Yeah. So you can see here, this is why it's hard for me to take these trades because I have so many accounts that I have to adjust my TP stop loss for each prop firm. So right now I currently have it set to 75. I might adjust that to something smaller. But as of now, the ATR is starting to kind of smooth it out a little bit. I'm glad that we're not at like 100 ATR like we were yesterday because that was just too crazy. Yeah, Christian said no trades today, but I'm glad I didn't FOMO. That's a key thing. If you guys feel comfortable, like you got to remember that you don't have to trade every single day, right, guys? Yesterday I took a trade which I should have totally avoided, and I took a loss. Thankfully I took it with a smaller contract size, so I didn't really lose very much. Let me see. Yeah, yesterday I think I took like a 4 contract or even smaller. I might have taken like 2 contracts because it was like a 100-point move. So I didn't really lose very much. I can kind of do the math. Let's see. Like 2 times 5 times 100. Yeah, $1,000. Basically half of what I would normally lose. It's weird how I get like, I don't know if you guys get this, but I always get like these spam emails and I always unsubscribe and I still get them. It's crazy. Like there's no way to unsubscribe from these spam emails. And I put them in spam and they still come up in my normal inbox, which is weird. I never even signed up for this stuff. It's like a newsletter. I guess it's not spam, but it's like I don't even know how I got it. If you guys ever heard of Newsmax, it's weird. I think it's like a Trump. I don't. Maybe I accidentally subscribed to them at some point, but I think it's like a Trump news outlet because they always send out like these crazy headlines, which I guess is kind of good because if I get those crazy headlines, I can kind of see how the market reacts to it. That's kind of where I saw the fake news from yesterday, based off Trump dropping all the tariffs. All right, guys, it's 7:49 right now. Price is starting to drop down lower, but here's the cool thing. Price is dropping down lower and we have some movement, but the ATR is staying pretty low. Right, so that's a good thing. It shows that there is direction of price, there's movement, but the market isn't moving super crazy like it was yesterday. Yeah, these candles look like they're looking a lot more normal now. It's about like 60 points each. Big contract that just came in. Let me check. That was a big contract for a buy. I don't know if these were stops getting filled, but it was 150 contracts. I haven't seen a big block order like this come in a long time. The block order came in at 39,339. You can mark that price. 39,3. All right. So 150 contracts were filled right here. I'm not sure if this was a stop getting filled. It possibly could be a stop because it looks like if people are buying right here, if price came back down, it's probably those stops getting filled. Yeah, huge contract order that came in right here. No, the thing is, Joe mentioned the NP, the not the NPS V2. Joe has been looking at the market flow V2, and I was looking at it here too. It looks like a lot of good entries would have came up here for market flow V2. Joe, I'm not sure if you took any of them, but there's a buy signal here which pushed up, retraced to this green pivot. This would be a market flow V2, and then same with this green buy signal right here too. Price pushed up, came down to this pivot, and it would have been a nice entry for NPS for market flow V2. That was like one of our favorite strategies that we applied a lot last year. I think it's still a good strategy. It's just that for me personally, I don't think I have the patience to wait for these to kind of shift over a little bit because I know you have to wait for the trend, of course. So yeah, but there's a couple good entries here that came up. Looks like this one came up right here too. Buy signal came down. And it just kind of depends on like where your TP stop loss would be. But yeah, the market flow V2 looks like it's been hitting lately. Nice, nice. Okay, yeah, so Joe did take those. Nice work. Yeah, it's always nice because so Joe's kind of new to the group, right? Joe's been here for a while, but he's new to the tools and indicators, and he mentioned the market flow V2. Like I totally forgot about the market flow V2. And he took that entry there for a 60-60, looks like he put in the chat, and he caught those moves there pretty nicely. Yeah, the thing with these strategies, guys, is that they all kind of like they tie in together. The market flow V2, the MPS V2, the MPS, regular market flow, all of those strategies, they all come in together, but and you can see over here, they just have different entry points. So the buy signal came up, this was an MPS V2, but if you took it as a market flow V2, it actually, the entry would happen down here. Just a little lower, you get better entry actually. Same with the regular MPS, like the MPS, if price pushed up right here, this is a retracement. The entry would have happened at the 40. So the original MPS entry would have happened right here. Like a pending order would have been waiting. And you could have wrote that up. So if you guys ever want to like look at similar strategies, so obviously the MPS V2 is what I'm applying. You can look at the original MPS, you can look at market flow, and you can look at market flow V2. Those four strategies are within the same family. So same thing that like Joe was mentioning, he's taking the market flow V2, which is cool because it lines up with the MPS V2. So pretty much same strategy or similar concept, just different entry points for entering the trade. All right, guys, it's getting closer and closer to 8 o'clock. It's about to be my cutoff time. The ATR is dropping down to 50. So, I mean, the average might drop down to 50. It seems like okay, so from my understanding right now, so current ATR averages to pay attention to. So basically 60 or we'll say 70 to 80 is average for normal volatility market. And then it looks like 50 to 60 is average for slow volatility market. I think this is like what you want to focus on. So if you guys remember before in the past, the lowest that we would go for would be like 15 ATR. If the ATR is below 15, we wouldn't take any trades. In a sense here, if it goes below 50, that's going to be kind of like the slower ATR as well. The average ATR is going to be around like 70 to 80. And for normal volatility in the slower market, it's going to be 50, 60. And dead market's probably going to be, we'll say like 30, 40. It's average for dead volatility. But you're never going to find this. It's not going to, the market's not going to be dead, right? So that's kind of like what you probably would be looking for. This would be the average for normal market, 70, 80. So for tomorrow, we'll kind of look at this as our scale, right? If it's around 70, 80, that's like normal market. Price is kind of moving like it was here. Decent moving. And then when the market starts to slow down, it's going to be something like this. The market's still moving, but it's slower. So you can see these candles here are a lot slower. They're like 50 points, 60 points. It's the downside. So like if you were to see a retracement, I see a small retracement continuation. And then the dead market would be around like 30, 40.
Connection lost.
Ninja just disconnected. Weird. Yeah, so it looks like all my accounts got disconnected on Ninja. Which is fine, I guess. So, all right, guys, I think that might be it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. Not really much that we took today. So Ark over here actually took some good entries. Ark took some smaller entries here, but he's still locking some pretty good profit, locking 284 for the day per account, or 200 basically. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, Ark over here says like a little bunt, right? A little base hit. So he got that right there, and locked in a little over 1,000. So nice work, Ark, on those profits there for the day. I didn't take anything for the day, so I'm pretty much flat. which I'm okay with. And we will come back tomorrow, and hopefully the market will start to move a lot more consistent like it did today. And I'll be a little more confident with taking these entries. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see how the volatility is. For today, if you guys took any of these entries, there was about 4 entries that came up. There was an MPSV2 that came up over here at 636. We set it to 65 TP stop loss based off the ATR. There was another MPSV2 that came up right here at 656. That is 636. This is 656. This one came up with higher volatility, so the ATR was set to 80. This was an A++ that Sam took. He took it for a 50-50 point TP stop loss. Might have been a little tight, but it was good enough for him to hit his TP and get out quickly. And then lastly, there was one MPSV2 that came up right here. It was around this area, which we didn't really want to trade because it was at the sessions, but it did hit TP there for another full TP for 60 points. But you guys can see the average over here is between 60 and 80 point range. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll find that sweet spot, and then we can start taking entries with a fixed TP stop loss. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, if you guys want to keep trading, I would just be careful. Keep an eye out for the ATR. If the ATR goes like super high, then obviously you probably want to just sit out. But the ATR is dropping a little bit, so it's starting to stabilize and show that market's going to stay around the 50-point range. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow for the next